the final epic conclusion to the Hunger Games trilogy. Um, Sorry, it's spring and I have allergies. I hate spring a lot because of that. So if I sound a little off, that's probably why. Now, this is the epic conclusion to the Hunger Games trilogy, Mockingjay Part 2. Um, it didn't do as well in the box office compared to the other Hunger Games movies. Though that's because, well, there's a scene in the movie where it's very and even when I saw it on Blu-ray, I kept thinking, yeah, I can tell why this made people uncomfortable. Since the Paris attacks happened and the movie happened and the scene and like, ugh, kind of cringeworthy considering it, and I'll get to that in a minute. Like, it takes place after Mockingjay Part 1. Really, I really don't get the whole divide into parts mentality nowadays. But, Katniss Everdeen is recovering after being attacked by PETA, and who's been brainwashed by the Capitol. And I kept saying what I said Mockingjay Part 1. It should have been, like, after Peter was hit by that sheet, a sheet of metal, they should have just cut the credits right there, and then we move on to the next part. That should have been what happened, but yeah, yeah. But I was still glad we saw that movie. Um, and Katniss has grown more and more desire to kill President Snow more personally, who is once again considered the most evil scumbag in the universe until the next president tries to take over. Um, and like this movie was good. Like, I thought this movie was great. I thought it was an epic conclusion. I'll get to the ending in a bit. Um, what I did find one problematic is, like, I'm trying to remember it, but other than the bombing scene that happened to the civilians, like, I thought, like, I get that happened in the book and they're staying true to the source material, but it was just bad timing, in my opinion. Like, they could also say The Force Awakens happened, but this came out a month beforehand, so it's mostly just bad timing, in my opinion, about why it's just a little cringeworthy. But, like, we see PETA trying to, like, am I good? Am I evil? Am I part of the Capitol? Am I part of the rebellion? Conflict going on with his psyche trying to be broken, and apparently in the books, PETA still has nightmares even after the whole thing is done, and suffers from how he murdered one of the resistant members. And okay, the President Coin, I think that's her name. I keep trying to pronounce it right. President Amelia Coin. Um, yeah, I gotta be honest. I'm trying to compare who's worse, President Snow or President Coin. Like, they're both kind of assholes. One, President Snow has been the main antagonist for 4 movies, and Coin's been around for 1 movie. And I had this vibe when I never read the books. I looked it up, but I always had that vibe like, I don't like you. Like, it just came to me, like, I just looked at that and I was like, yeah, I don't like you. I don't know why, but I just really don't like you. And my suspicions were proved correct. How she's responsible for the bombings and that killed, which I thought, like, wow, they really did that? How they killed, let's see, I'm trying to remember her name. I just called her the Catalyst. Uh, Prim, was it? Um, yeah, Prim, her Katniss' sister. When I saw that, I was like, okay, that's pretty ballsy. I looked it up. Oh wait, this happened in the book, so staying true to the source material. So, but like when I first saw it, I was thought, man, they killed the catalyst. They killed her. They killed the catalyst. The person that's pretty much responsible for all of this is dead. And I was like, wow, kind of makes this whole thing kind of pointless a little bit. Like, Katniss did all this hard work to protect her little sister, and she dies in the end either way. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty ballsy to do, and then I looked it up and like, oh, okay, they did that in the books. So, and I still thought, wow, the things they did in this movie, I'm still saying like I still say that scene where Prim dies is pretty cringeworthy and horrid because, like I said, the movie came out at the very bad timing, which I will not talk about since it's just uncomfortable to talk about even now. But so Katniss and the remaining Hunger Game victors are conversing with with President Coin. Um, well, beforehand, Katniss confronts Snow, who is sick apparently, coughing up blood, and I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is explained better in the books, but could you have explained why he's sick in the movie? Like, I never saw indication that he was sick. Like, if, like, I'm pretty sure it was better explained in the books, but it's never explained in the movie. It just came out of nowhere. So, he explains that Corin orchestrated the bombing that killed Katniss' sister, and outside his managed to turn the soldiers against him, and Katniss views him as lying, but they go back to her previous installment, I'm pretty sure it was Catching Fire, that they promised not to lie to each other, and then she realized that the incident resembles a trap that Gale had developed earlier, so, like, Gale is unable to sway Katniss to say, I did not do that, I had no idea why I did that, that was not my intention, that was never the plan, and Katniss cuts all ties with him, so there's the end of that love triangle, so we see how that is. And Coin invites the remaining Hunger Game victors to propose yet another Hunger Games, this time using the children of the capital, and I was like, yeah, this is why I really don't like you. Like, you orchestrated the bombing that killed Prim and the civilians and the children. And I'm sure it was better explained in the books of why Coin did what she did, but some people might say, this is almost like a Skywalker turn. Like, it just came out of nowhere. But, I'm pretty sure they explained it better in the books, so you would have to read the books to understand what happened. And it was also used as a symbolic gesture to satisfy the districts. And I'm thinking, but the children had nothing to do with this. In fact, one of Snow's granddaughters, I believe it was, or niece, um, wore Katniss's braids, so she kind of supported Katniss. So really, are you gonna blame her for everything that happened? Like, it's not the children's fault. Like, if you want to blame somebody, you can blame it on Snow. And Katniss decides to swing the vote in the favor of another Hunger Games, though really that's a lie, to execute Snow personally. And at the execution, Coin makes this big speech of, I'm great, and this is a glorious day for the Capitol. Well, secretly, it's glorious for me because I get to take over. And, and Katniss looks like she's going to kill Snow. In the books, Snow doesn't tell her that they made an agreement not to lie to each other. Katniss remembers it at the last second, from what I gathered. And Katniss shoots the arrow to Coins' head, though in this case, in the movie, they shoot it at the heart, and she dies. And and Snow laughs and he's still coughing up blood, and like I'm just like, wait, but how is he sick? They never explain that. And Snow like dies brutally pretty much. Like in the books, it's suggested that he coughed up on his own blood or got torn apart by the mob. But in the movie, yeah, the mob killed him, and I thought that, damn, like I know he deserved it, but oh, God, that's still cruel. Thank God this was not rated R, or it'd be much more crueler. And the rebels take her into custody, and Katniss is eventually pardoned for her crimes. I'm like, in the book they say it was reasons of insanity. In this, it's like, oh, okay. And returns to District 12, where she's joined by Peeta and Haymitch, was it? Yeah, Haymitch. And Commander Paler is elected new president of Panam. And years later, Katniss and Peeta are playing with their two children. And this is where the movie ended very somberly for me. How Katniss is talking to her 1 year old daughter, talking about the nightmares of the past, and how she tries to use all the positives she got out of this experience as a way to keep herself sane. And I was like, two things. One, this is kind of depressing. And two, you're really creeping me out, Katniss. So yeah, and then Katniss says there are much worse games to play, and like, is that like setting up a sequel? Like, there's something bigger coming? Nah, it's just like there might be worse things than what she experienced, maybe, but she's hoping her children doesn't go through with it. Now, that's pretty much the end of the movie. Like, I really love this movie. I really love this franchise. I've never read the books, but even I looked at it and I was like, yeah, you're staying true to the books. Like, and I thought Jennifer Lawrence was great as Katniss. She actually looks like Katniss. And I get the feeling like Jennifer Lawrence may have been stuck a bit as Katniss in other movies, specifically X-Men Apocalypse, where she's talking in the trailers, where she's basically saying, let me quote Jeremy Jahns, I'm here to fight, war and fight. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's Katniss. Not Mystique, not Raven. So someone can make the argument that maybe Jennifer Lawrence is still kind of trapped in the Hunger Games mentality and is still talking like this. um, sorry. Like I said, allergies. Um, and like I thought the movie ended very somberly, and I thought, like it's still good, kind of depressing a bit, like. And like Katniss like breaks down in tears, yelling at their cat, saying that Prim's dead, she's not coming back. And I thought, man, that hurts. Like reminding us and how, yeah. And some people thought, like I thought they were gonna do something different, like maybe Prim doesn't die, but they decided to stay true to the source material, so I was okay with that. But yeah, this movie franchise was great. I hear that Lionsgate is trying to make a sequel or a prequel, and I was like, just let it end. You had a beginning, a middle, of an end. You don't need to start with a prequel. You don't need to do a sequel. Like, it's over. It has a conclusion. So I feel like they should just stop there. This movie was great. The franchise was great. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone stands by that Catching Fire was the best of the Hunger Games series. Like, it certainly was, in my opinion. And while Mockingjay Part 2 was a close second, Mockingjay Part 1 is a good third, and the beginning of the Hunger Games is in fourth. But I ultimately thought they were great movies. I bought them all on Blu ray separately before they released the anthology. So, yeah. Well, everyone, this was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate, and stay tuned for more. And the fire burns forever.